Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine this situation, right? You're sort of caught right in the middle.
Uh-huh.
Two of your friends, maybe even really good friends, they had this massive, like, public falling out.
Oh, yeah. The worst kind.
Exactly. Not just a little tiff. This is like full-blown accusations, drama, the whole thing. What do you even do?
Right. How do you handle that without, picking a side?
Or making it worse, like becoming the messenger or something.
Yeah, that's the nightmare scenario. It's such
Yeah.
a common thing, isn't it? We've all probably been there or near there.
Totally. And it feels like, well, there's no easy answer. Damage control, maybe.
Yeah,
Or you feel pushed to choose.
exactly. And you might even want to jump in, mediate, or maybe take a side if you feel strongly about it.
But that can just blow up in your face.
Spectacularly, yeah.
Okay, so while this specific example played out, very dramatically on Amazon Prime Video's The Traitors.
Which is a pressure cooker anyway.
Oh, completely. But the core problem, it's universal. So today we're doing a deep dive into this really unique but effective strategy.
Used by one of the contestants, Jannat Zubair.
Right, Jannat Zubair. And how she navigated exactly this kind of high-stakes personal drama. It's actually surprisingly applicable outside reality TV.
And the best part, we know how she did it because she talked about it herself.
Yeah. She did an exclusive interview with India Forums, laid it all out, her methods, her thinking. It's like a little blueprint.
It really is.
So if you've ever been stuck in that awkward spot, between friends who aren't friends anymore, and you're looking for a way to keep the peace.
Or at least not add to the conflict.
Yeah, exactly. Then this deep dive, it's definitely for you. It's a solid lesson, I think, in just managing relationships under pressure.
And the traitors, talk about pressure. You're in this house. The whole point is basically deception and figuring out who's lying.
While trying to build trust, it's inherently contradictory.
Totally. It's designed for alliances to shift, for rumors to fly. Every little thing gets amplified.
And right in the middle of that environment, you had Uorfi Javed and Apoorva Mukhija, both big social media names.
Yeah, and they had this incredibly public, pretty nasty
They
fight.
started off friendly on the show, didn't they?
They did. But it went south fast. Started with an emotional moment, Uorfi trying to comfort Apoorva, Apoorva pushing back.
And then it just spiraled. Misunderstandings, things said publicly, accusations.
Yeah, personal stuff came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't stop when the show ended. Uorfi went public saying Apoorva planned it all.
Wow.
And Apoorva kind of responded indirectly online. Bottom line, the friendship was toast. They still keep their distance now.
Which brings us right back to Jannat Zubair, because she was friends with both of them, like properly friends.
Smack bang in the middle of it all. The crossfire, basically.
So the million-dollar question, how did she pull it off? How did she stay neutral, keep both friendships, and not fan the flames?
And what's wild is how simple her approach was.
Right. In that India Forums interview, she called it her simple funda, her, core rule. She said, and I'm quoting here, "Whatever Apoorva used to tell me about Uorfi, I did not tell Uorfi, and whatever Uorfi used to tell me about Apoorva, I did not tell Apoorva."
So basic.
So basic. She added, "So I think as a friend, you can only do this idhar ki udhar nahira."
Which basically means?
Yeah, it translates roughly to not carrying tales back and forth. Don't relay this stuff.
It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? Like, surely it's more complicated than that.
You'd think so, but why does it work so well?
Well, I think the power is in how it avoids that classic trap, what they call triangulation.
Triangulation.
Yeah. When you start passing messages, especially negative ones, you automatically become the third point in their conflict triangle.
Ah, okay. You're not neutral anymore.
Exactly. You're filtering it. Maybe you're subtly taking a side just by how you relay it, or you're just keeping the argument going by being the messenger.
You're basically adding fuel, even if you don't mean to.
Precisely. So by refusing to be that go-between, by just not carrying the tales, Jannat broke that cycle.
She stayed out of the triangle.
Yeah. She let them either sort it out themselves or, just stay apart. But her actions weren't making it worse. It's about not letting their drama spill over and mess up your individual relationships with them.
That makes so much sense. It's not like she was actively trying to fix their friendship.
No, not mediating.
But she was passively stopping it from getting worse just by not transmitting the bad stuff.
Exactly. And she said herself, didn't she, what the result was?
She did. She said, and I think because of that, life becomes so sordid that because of me, they did not have any fight, neither inside the show nor after the show.
Wow. So she feels her not relaying information directly prevented more fights between them.
Seems like it. And she emphasized she still talks to both of them regularly, individually. But crucially, whatever she discusses with Apoorva stays with Apoorva, and whatever she discusses with Uorfi stays with Uorfi. She is not the link for their negativity about each other.
Which really challenges that common idea, doesn't it? That if two friends fall out, you have to pick a side eventually.
Totally. Everyone assumes that.
But Janet's experience shows, well, maybe you don't. It's actually possible, practical even, to keep those individual friendships going.
As long as you draw that boundary about not being the messenger for their conflict.
Right. Her strategy meant she wasn't making things more complicated for either Uorfi or Apoorva. She wasn't another source of stress in their already stressful situation.
And you see the proof, right? She posts pictures hanging out with Uorfi and then hanging out with Apoorva.
Meanwhile, Uorfi and Apoorva themselves, still very much not reconciled, still avoiding each other publicly.
It really does show that balancing act in reality TV, but also, like you said, it's way bigger than that.
The core lesson is the power of just not doing something, the power of omission.
Yeah, choosing not to pass on the negative information, that was the key.
And by doing that, she protected herself from getting dragged down with it, and she kept her own friendships intact. She didn't fix their broken friendship, but she didn't let it break hers either.
Okay, so let's bring this home. What's the big takeaway here for you listening?
It really boils down to Jannat Zubair's small funda, her core principle.
Yeah, that incredibly powerful, simple idea. Just the discipline of not carrying tales, not relaying the negative stuff between friends who are on the outs.
And look what it did for her. It let her keep her individual friendships with both Uorfi and Apoorva, even after that huge public fight on the Traitors, and even now while they're still estranged.
So maybe think about how that could apply in your own life. Those times you're caught in the middle.
Yeah, could that kind of really disciplined approach to what you share and what you don't share, could that stop misunderstandings? Could it lower the temperature?
Preserve relationships, maybe. Not just friendships, but like at work or, I don't know, community groups, family.
Anywhere there's potential for conflict between people you care about, really.
So here's a final thought to chew on. If this simple act, just choosing not to pass on negative information, can work in a crazy, high-pressure public setting like a reality show.
Preventing conflict?
Yeah.
Keeping relationships alive?
What could that principle do on a bigger scale, like in our super interconnected, often really polarized world?
What would things look like if more of us just adopted that either philosophy? If we just stopped being the carriers of negativity between groups or individuals?
Could that foster more understanding, maybe? Less automatic conflict, something to think about.